It is now 7 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And everyone's on mute right now, just to eliminate some of the background noise. But if you have a question or a comment, go ahead and press 1 on your keypad at any time, and we'll make sure that we can call on you. Again, if you have a question or a comment, press 1 on your keypad. This is Ben Gubitz from American Promise, welcoming all to this Massachusetts statewide volunteer call for the 2018 Overturn Citizens United Ballot Initiative. Excited to be with everyone today. And I'm going to turn it over in just a minute to Larry Scarf and Kellen Arno. Just a quick background. Larry Scarf from Burlington, Massachusetts, is a volunteer, one of the strongest volunteers on anything I've ever seen, that has basically taken Massachusetts by storm, launched his own American Promise Association. He's been delivering talks all over the state, and has signed up to be kind of the statewide volunteer coordinator for the signature gathering effort for the ballot initiative. And so we're so lucky to have Larry on this call. And then also we have Kellen Arno from Grandview Campaigns, who American Promise has been working with for ballot access strategy. And Kellen's done signature gathering campaigns for ballot initiatives in every state that allows for them, and has been very successful. So Kellen's participation in tonight's call is also extremely, extremely appreciated. So without further ado, Larry, I'm going to pass it on over to you, and really, again, just really appreciate everyone's taking the time out of their busy schedule tonight to talk about this really fun and critical ballot initiative that we're going to be working on. So Larry, go ahead and take it away.
All right, and thanks, Ben. Very much appreciate your work and your introductions and just keeping this thing going. And I also want to thank Kellen very much. I certainly appreciate Kellen's expertise because, as Ben said, I may be an active volunteer, but I'm new to all of this stuff. And so I wanted to start out with a little bit of who is Larry Scarf and what's he doing here. And I'm an aerospace engineer by trade, and I've just been kind of silent my entire life. I just kind of let politics run by. I thought everything was going fine. And then about a year and a half ago, I heard Jeff Clements talk about American Promise, and it hit me over the head that, wow, this is a problem of big money in politics, and it's the one that we have to solve before we can solve any other problem. And so I just kind of jumped in at that time and started to take up the mantle of citizen leadership and enjoying it. And it's a place where I see I can make a positive difference, and I hope all on the call kind of feel the same way, that this is a place where we can do something good and we can make a difference, and we're doing that right now. So I thank everyone for being involved tonight, and I look forward to meeting each and every one of you as we move through this process all through the coming months. Because I'm kind of a geek, I wanted to take a moment to find out who's on the call, really. And Ben and Kellen and I are all located in different places. And Ben is running the switchboard, and he can see what buttons you punch on your keypad. And so I'd be interested to know if you're new, if you haven't been involved, didn't go to one of our May meetings in Boston or Worcester where we started and launched this effort. If you're joining this call, you might know about American Promise, but might not have been involved in the May meetings. If you'd push a 1 on your keypad, and if you had been to one of the Boston or Worcester meetings and kind of heard us talk about this, press 2. And so the geek in me is interested now if that happens, and Ben can say what's sort of the distribution of who's new and who has heard kind of the start of this before.
Sure. So if you're new to this and didn't go to the launch events in Worcester and Boston, press 1. Or if you were at the launch events in Worcester or Boston and have heard about this before, press 2, and just give a couple more folks to ring in here. But it's looking like 14% of the folks pressed 1 that are relatively new, 51% of the folks press 2, and 55% now of the folks have press 2, and we're probably at the Worcester or Boston event. So a nice little mix.
Great. Yes. Thanks. Wow, that's cool. And so that's great for those that are coming back, but I also want to recognize the folks that are new. And so I want to do a little bit of a brief kind of overview of what we're doing. And the way I see the call going is that may take about 10 or 15 minutes, and we'll just review where we've come from. And then we'll pause and have some questions. So there'll be 10 or 15 minutes of me talking about a little bit of the 28th Amendment and the planning for the ballot initiative. Go into some questions, and anytime I'd like to keep this as interactive as we can. So feel free to push 1 on your keypad. And Ben, if you see a lot of people coming up with questions, I'm happy to interrupt where I am, but I'll certainly pause at the end of that first 15 minutes and we can take questions. And then another 15 minutes after that would be talking about where we go from here, what our goals are, how we organize over the summer, and what the plans are for June and July specifically, and things that we're doing to get the word out and the message out. That will be another 15-ish minutes, and then we'll pause, and I expect a lot of questions at that time as well. And then finally, in the time remaining, we'll just recap and see where we're going on from here. So that's at least the layout of the plan for the hour. So what I wanted to do first was sort of review the activities that American Promise has going on. And actually, Ben, I didn't plan this, I didn't give you a heads up on this, but I wonder if, because you and Joyce and the group at American Promise have been spending a whole lot of good energy around the national effort going to different states. I wondered if you could talk just for a few minutes about your recent trips and what you've been doing for other states to get everybody on board for the 28th Amendment.
Sure, Larry. Yeah, I'd be happy to. As Larry mentioned, this is very much a national movement, and Massachusetts plays a critical role in the broader scope of the national movement for a 28th Amendment to overturn Citizens United. Just a quick background. I'm not sure, Larry, if you were going to get into this, but for folks that didn't know and that are relatively new, and this was actually a question that came across the wire before the call. Folks had the opportunity to submit their questions in advance. So 19 states have actually called on Congress and have gone on record calling on Congress to support a 28th Amendment, do everything in their power to send it back to the states for ratification. That's 19 states. About 800 cities and towns have done resolutions calling for a 28th Amendment to overturn Citizens United. By the way, about 140 million Americans live in those 19 states that are on record, so that's some real people power. And so really, and as Larry mentioned, we've been traveling quite a bit and starting up new American Promise associations and core teams all over the country, and that's really part of this broader national campaign that we call the Citizen Uprising. That's really all about unifying this movement and connecting folks to the national scene. So we can all, move forward in one direction together and really create, a big bang and make this into a movement. And so I just got back from Kansas City, Missouri on Sunday, where we had a great event, launched a new American Promise Association there. My colleague Joy Sanchez was in Winston-Salem, North Carolina this weekend as well, and launched a great new effort in North Carolina. And it's happening all over the country. Wyoming, the state of Wyoming is already well on their way to securing their place on a ballot for the 2018 election. There's folks in New Jersey and Santa Fe, New Mexico, in Ohio and California, all over the place that are starting new American Promise associations and really leaning into this effort to reclaim our democracy from big money. So it's very exciting. And again, Massachusetts plays a critical role in this. Massachusetts has always been the leader. And so, this effort for the ballot initiative is very exciting, as we'll give the opportunity to have about 4.5 million voters to come together and stand up and say that they want this type of reform. So very exciting. Larry, not sure how much more detail you wanted me to go into, but
that was perfect.
Folks
yes.
Folks on the call know that you're taking part in a very big and historic campaign. So really appreciate it.
And there's 20 states if we did everything we would like to do, right, that have ballot initiative opportunities that we would try to hit in 2018.
Yeah, that's right. So 24 states allow for the ballot initiative process, Massachusetts being one of them. Four of those 19 states that have called for an amendment have done this by the ballot already, that went to the voters, statewide ballot initiatives in Washington State and California most recently in 2016, and then before that in Montana and Colorado. And so that leaves about 20 states that we can still, put a 28th Amendment question on the ballot and go straight to the voters with. And, how we do this in Massachusetts can really serve as a great model for other states, not only in 2018, but also in 2020. So the rest of no pressure, the rest of the country is counting on you guys. No, I'm kidding. But,
right.
But no, it's
yes.
going to serve as a great model.
Yes. So let me jump in then to the Massachusetts ballot initiative. And again, I'm new to this, so I'm going to state what I've learned, and then Kellen and Ben, you feel free to jump right in and add to what I say or correct any misconceptions. But as I understand it, all states are slightly different. So the way you would go about forming a ballot initiative is potentially a little different in each state. And so for Massachusetts, our ballot initiatives, if they're passed, they must enact some legislation. You must pass a law. Something must occur. We can't just have a ballot initiative that says we want to have a 28th Amendment and tell people to go vote this way. Something actually has to happen. And so in creating the ballot initiative for Massachusetts, we've been working on a process to enact a citizens commission. So the initiative in Massachusetts would be a petition for a law that would form a citizens commission that supports the constitutional amendment to secure government of the people. That's kind of the title of the language. And so that commission, its role would advance the policies of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts as established in the 2012 resolution passed by the General Court of Massachusetts. So in 2012, Massachusetts passed a law, or an amendment rather, that said that Massachusetts calls upon the U.S. Congress to pass and send to the states for ratification a constitutional amendment that restores the First Amendment and fair elections to the people. And there were some more bullet points that it goes into, and that was in 2012. And so now for this ballot initiative, we're going back and supporting that and reinforcing that with a citizens commission that would perform research, take testimony, provide a report within a year, and make recommendations that would assist Massachusetts and potentially even the country in drafting, promoting, proposing, and ratifying 28th constitutional amendment. So that's a very quick overview of the intent of this ballot initiative. It's to form a citizens commission that would have 15 people on the commission appointed by different folks in the government, and they would be charged with this drafting, promoting, proposing, and ratifying or supporting the ratification of a constitutional amendment. So that's what we're looking for as far as the 2018 ballot initiative. That's what it'll be. The final language. The final language is due pretty soon, but I don't think it's finished yet. Is that right, Ben? Do you know?
Not quite yet. So we should be submitting the final language to the Attorney General's office sometime within the next 4 to 6 weeks or so. But it's pretty close, and if folks want to, if folks would like, go ahead and send Larry or myself an email, beng@americanpromise.net, and we can send you a draft of what the language says for the ballot initiative. So it's beng@americanpromise.net. If you want, shoot me an email, and I can go ahead and send you the most current draft that we have that's ready to submit to the Attorney General's office.
Perfect. So then the next question is, how do we get that on the ballot? So what's the process in Massachusetts that we have to go through to get that on the ballot so that the voters in Massachusetts can vote on it? And the requirements are that we have 65,000 verified signatures. So we have to go and get 65,000 signatures of Massachusetts voters that are verified, meaning that they are indeed registered to vote in the town that they sign the petition, the petition that they sign on. And we have to get those 65,000. The other requirement is that no more than a quarter of that number can be from any one county. So we have to get a wide distribution. We can't just say go into Boston and get 65,000 signatures. We have to be spread out so that only a quarter of them, maximum of a quarter, from any one county. And the other problem is that not all of those signatures that we collect may not be verified by the towns. There may be some problems with them. And so we're planning on collecting somewhere around 90,000 raw signatures. So we get 90,000 raw signatures, and that will yield us most likely something in the hopefully above the 65,000 number that we need to collect. And we have to do that collection in a very short period of time between September 20th of this year, September 20th and November 22nd. So we have a little over 60 days to collect those signatures. And once we collect those and send them to the and submit them to the state, then the legislature has the potential of accepting it right then and saying, okay, we'll enact this and this will become law. If they don't do that, then we have to go through another process of another signature collection phase to get about 11,000 additional verified signatures, and that would happen between May 2nd and June 19th. So we have these two periods, main period of getting 65,000 signatures between September and November, followed by a time where we would be raising awareness of what's going on, and then go back in May and collect the additional 11,000 signatures that we would need to get the ballot initiative, the ballot petition on the 2018 ballot. So how'd I do, Ben and Kellen? Chime in now if there's more you should add, that should be added.
No, I think you did great.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll open it up for some questions in a little bit, but I think that was great. Well done.
Yep. I got like maybe 2 more minutes, and then we'll hit on the questions. So how are we going to collect these 65,000 signatures? We've tried to split it up into a level of support. So it's all volunteer, of course, and we've got regional captains, we're calling them. That's about 10 regions throughout the state, loosely formed in the counties, but there are 14 counties, and we'll have 10 regions. We've lumped a couple of counties together. So there would be a captain, a person that was responsible for that large region. And what we'd ask that captain to do is find about 6 friends, 6 people that are distributed around that region that would be their district captains. And so we'd have regional captains looking over 6 district captains, and those district captains, each one would find 15 volunteers that would be willing to gather signatures. So we've got district captains watching over 15 volunteers, and that's within their town or surrounding towns, that would go out and gather signatures, and only somewhere around 100 signatures is what we're asking each volunteer to collect. So if you want to be a signature collector, signature gatherer, the desire is to, within those 60 days, collect 100 signatures. Great if you get more, but if you get 100 signatures, that works out, the numbers work out, that if we've got 15 people, volunteers per district captain, and 6 district captains in a region and 10 regions, if you do that math out, and you get 100 signatures for each volunteer, you get 90,000 signatures. So that's the way we've tried to distribute the workload out, so it's not difficult for anyone. It's pretty much wherever you decide you would like to be, a captain or a signature collector, it's a pretty manageable task. And in addition, if you'd like to be behind the scenes and sort of not out in front, we would like to have those folks be logistics and operations coordinators, where you would help distribute literature, collect information, collect the signature forms, couriers that would go back and forth between the town clerks so that they would submit the paperwork, the signatures to the town clerk, and then get them back when they've been verified. So there's plenty of things to do for everyone, whether you are happy to be out in front collecting signatures, or if you'd like to be help back in the back room supporting us. We've got plenty of things going on. And so I think now let me stop and see if there's anybody raised a hand by a number 1 on the keypad, and we can hit some questions.
Sure. Yeah, a couple folks have, Larry, and that was a great rundown. And by the way, folks, everyone's on mute right now, but if you hit 1 on your keypad and you have a question or a comment, go ahead and do that now so I can call on you. But let's start with Ann Kearney. Ann, where are you calling in from? Oops.
I'm in Medfield.
Ann, are you with?
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Medfield.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
yes,
we can.
Loud and clear.
Okay, good. All right, I have 2 questions. Ben, at the beginning you said that 19 states have already asked Congress to pass such an amendment, and am I understanding you correctly?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
And then
yes.
the goal, then the additional goal is for by the 2018 election to have 24 more states include the amendment on the ballot as an initiative. Is that correct?
That would be quite ambitious to have 24 more states.
That would be a stretch goal, but yes.
18. That would be a stretch goal, certainly.
What is the goal then? The numerical goal for 2018?
Yeah, it's hard to say exactly how many we hope to have by the midterms in 2018. There are, like I said, multiple ballot initiative efforts underway in Massachusetts and Wyoming, hopefully in Missouri, Florida, and a couple others for 2018. It's likely that one or not all of those will actually make it onto the ballot for various reasons. And then there's also state legislatures that have 28th Amendment resolutions moving through them. And I think there has been about 26 that have been introduced in the first session of 2017, and so it's hard to say where those will go. Right? The whole idea of the citizen uprising is to support all of those efforts the best we can and kind of stir up some more efforts. So it's hard to say exactly how many we'll have by 2018, but I can tell you that we'll have more than the 19 that we have now. That's for sure.
Okay.
And by the way, 19 is kind of a symbolic number, as that's halfway of the 38 states that would be needed to ratify this 28th Amendment. So I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Okay. And my second, may I ask a second question?
Sure.
Hello? Okay.
Yes.
Do I understand you correctly that in 2012 the Massachusetts legislature did pass a resolution asking the U.S. Congress to pass a 28th Amendment resolution and send it back to the states?
Yes, it was in 2012, and so the language that I have here, which may be not the exact language that was used, but it stated that Massachusetts calls upon the U.S. Congress to pass and send to the states for ratification a constitutional amendment to restore the First Amendment and fair elections to the people.
Okay. And the goal now for 2018 is to get this type of resolution on the ballot so that citizens can vote for it to support the state legislature?
The 2018 ballot initiative that we're working for is to form a nonpartisan citizens commission that would do two things. It would help advance those. It would research and provide a report and recommendations that would assist in furthering our 2012 resolution, both in the state and then up to the U.S. Congress. And the report, which would, if all of this is passed and the people vote on it, the report would be due by December 31st, 2019, and it would be provided to the General Court of Massachusetts, the current members of the U.S. Congress, and the President. So that's the intent of the Citizens Commission.
Yeah, and I'll just add, kind of, if you will, and just kind of think of this almost as like the people's watchdog, the Citizens Commission, right? So the Massachusetts state legislature passed this in 2012. We still don't have an amendment. We still have members of Congress that aren't putting this high in their platforms of things to support. And the citizens of Massachusetts want this reform. And the ballot initiative will give 4.5 million people a chance to say, listen, Congress, we're serious. We want this. Make it happen. And then the Citizens Commission is the instrument to kind of keep the pressure on. So, again, I hope that answers your question. We're going to move along if that's okay. So there's some other folks with hands up. So if we can, let's go to Jessica D'Antonio Traeger. Jessica, where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Milford. Can you hear me?
Welcome.
Great. Yes.
Yep.
Welcome. Thank you.
Okay. I had a very specific question on the process, but I also, it's more of a comment or either a question or a recommendation. And just the questions that this woman just asked from Medfield. I know that we don't have a time on the call, but is there a document you can send us? And I apologize if you already did. Like, this is such a long, arduous process to put a new amendment to reverse Citizen United. That's what we're trying to do, correct?
Correct. In the end, yes, the 28th Amendment to reverse it, yes.
I would just love to, I'm super busy, but I would love to force myself to take the time to understand what the process is. You know, so many states have to do X, and then it goes to Congress, and then whatever because it just seems like, you know, I want to pass this tomorrow, but that is not happening. So, is that, do you have some kind of a high-level document or a web link to send all of us on the call that can give us the, you know, what has to happen to have a new amendment passed?
Yeah, we do have those documents, but even easier, if you just go to AmericanPromise.net, you should be able to find that information there. That's pretty that's pretty high level.
All right. Yeah,
check it out.
I kind of want the Cliff Notes version. All right, so my question was, my goal is to sign up and or to volunteer to get 100 signatures. Do they all have to be from my town? Because I have friends and family that I could reach out to in other areas.
Yes, they do not. So thank you very much for signing up. And the requirement is that each town has to have its own ballot sheet. Its own the signature sheet will say the town at the top, and so everybody that's in that signs that sheet has to be from that town. But you can certainly have multiple sheets and have people sign the right sheets. They just have to be distributed to the towns.
Yeah. If I collect signatures in 5 different towns, they have to be on 5 different sheets, each for one.
Correct.
For each of the towns. Okay.
Yes.
That's it. All right. Thank you.
And Ben, are there more hands up, or shall we?
Yeah, there are actually. If we have time, maybe just a couple more questions, Larry. If that's
sure.
All right.
Yep. That's what this is for.
Absolutely. So let's go to Jocelyn Goranson. Jocelyn, where are you calling in from?
Hi, I'm calling from Fairhaven.
Yay.
Great.
Okay. I have to admit I got on late and I missed most of what you had to say, and I really am very interested. So I'm wondering, is there going to be another call, or can I find out what you said from some other source, because I would like to volunteer?
Oh, yes. Both of the answers. Yes to both answers. Ben, you want to hit the recording, how we're recording the call?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. So the call is being recorded. We're going to send a link of the recording around to everyone that registered, and so you should be able to hear everything that you missed. And then, in addition, this in addition, this is the first of many statewide volunteer calls that will take place. And as we get a little bit further into the process, we're going to get a little bit deeper into the weeds in terms of training, right? So I'm a signature gatherer. I'm going out. What are my talking points? What should I be saying? What should I be doing with my petitions once I have them filled out? Where should I be delivering them to? Et cetera.
Okay,
so
good.
this is the first of in a series of many volunteer statewide calls for this effort.
Great. Thank you.
Yes.
Anything else you want to add there, Larry?
I'll just give a little preamble to what I'll talk about next, which is that in addition to American Promise's website, which will be very good for information, we're also launching our own Massachusetts website that I'll talk about in a minute, that will also have specific information about what we're doing and how we're going about it and all of those kinds of things for training opportunities for volunteers, that sort of thing.
Definitely. Yeah. Thanks, Larry. So let's go to Pauline Penny. Pauline, where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from Leominster, and my question is, so this effort for a citizen commission, is this happening in other states as well as Massachusetts? Or are we just launching that?
No, great question, actually, Pauline. So the language was just filed last week with the Attorney General's office in Missouri that has a very similar language to what we're proposing in Massachusetts. In some states, you can pass a resolution without establishing a new law or having that force of law similar to what Washington, California, Montana, and Colorado did. And so those states will be a little bit more similar to those resolutions that simply call on Congress without the creation of a new commission or a new law. But Florida might likely have a citizens commission as well involved in that ballot language, but for sure Missouri and Massachusetts as it stands right now.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Larry, a couple more?
Sure.
Okay. Let's go to Carlos Contreras. Carlos, where are you calling in from?
No, he also looks like the guy from Reno 911.
Oops. Okay. No Carlos there. Let's go to Garrett Whitney. Garrett, where are you calling in from?
Well, I didn't have a question, but I'll pass to the next. I'll pass to the next person. I'm in Concord.
Thanks.
Great
Thanks
call.
for listening, Garrett. Appreciate it very much.
Sure.
Welcome, Garrett. Okay, great. And then maybe we can give Carlos one more shot here. Carlos, did you have a question?
6 months. She said you're not ready.
No. Okay.
Nope.
Might have hit it by accident. So let's go ahead and move on.
Yep, that sounds good. So let me start now with where we're headed locally and what our initial goals would be. So I did mention briefly that we're setting up our own sort of presence, and part of that is that we need to form a separate entity for legal reasons to let us do some fundraising and collect donations for things like printing materials and covering entry fees if we want to go set up a table somewhere that will charge an entry fee to have us in there. And so we're setting up a site as well as a name for Massachusetts specifically that's called People Govern Not Money. And we've just launched a website by that name, so that's peoplegovernotmoney.org. And you can go there now, and it's a work in progress, and one of the things I would love to have folks do is to help us say what it needs to have. So we've got a lot of good comments already about literature and information that you want to see. That's really helpful, and so sending Ben or myself an email about that, about what you think should be on the website. There's also a place on the website that you can comment on it, so that's good as well. And I mentioned sending me an email. My email address is amend28, so AMEND, the number 28, @scarf.org. And so you can send me an email. You've probably, if you've received emails from me already. You're on my mailing list. If you've signed up for American Promise, I'm in the process of sorting all of those things from Massachusetts and getting one consolidated email list. So most likely soon you'll be seeing emails coming out from me about what we're doing and how we're going about things. But please take a look at that website. Another thing that I want to collect soon is a list of frequently asked questions. And again, we're getting those here tonight, and I've been trying to jot a lot of them down. But if you wanted to pop over questions or things that we should have as an FAQ sheet on the website, that would be great. So what are our goals? Between now and the next 30 days, what would we like to do? And ideally, I'd like to see us have a goal to reach 50% of the levels of the people that of the volunteers. So the biggest one there are signature gatherers, and we'd love to have eventually 900. So I'd like to shoot to see if we can't get 400 to 450 signature gatherers by the, say, end of 4th of July weekend. And I mentioned 4th of July weekend because I think that's a perfect time for everybody to spread the word, host a party, get some people to come over, and maybe just devote 10 or 15 minutes to talking about the process of the ballot initiative, the 28th Amendment. See if you can get friends engaged to sign up and get 100 signatures, and have fun with it. There's short videos also on the website. You'll find videos that are 5 and 10 minutes long, no longer than that talk about the 28th Amendment and Citizens United for refreshers for people that don't know as much about it. I also heard from one person in an email just recently that they had attended, I think, the Boston meeting where we had stamps that you can stamp money from a website called stampede.org. That's run by Ben Cohen, the guy of Ben of Ben and Jerry's Ice Cream, and he makes stamps that stamp money out of politics. They've got a lot of nice little sayings, and you can stamp your dollar bills and $5 bills and $20 bills with these stamps. And she was saying to me on the email that was a great conversation starter. She had people over, they were stamping money, and then they were talking about the 28th Amendment. So that's the kind of fun thing that would be great to do, and so please think about those ideas and aiming at trying to get other people involved and sign up on the website to be a volunteer. Another thought you could do is just to make a list of the people that are in your life, write them down, and then go have conversations with them. And just simply the act of kind of writing down their names cements it kind of in your head, and then you can check things off, and that'll help you get it done, and that would help us tremendously too. Another person that is just on fire with this stuff has said to me that, we can't really start collecting signatures until September 20th, but I'm going to have mine all ready to go and be done by September 21st because I'm just going to line up all my friends and tell them where I'll be, and they'll come on September 20th and sign it up. So we've got all summer to line up 100 folks to sign up, and that would be great. Let's just get it all done quickly. So that's another thought. Also posting messages on Facebook or writing emails to people that say, hey, I've joined American Promise, and it's a way that I think we can improve our country. Let's get in contact, and maybe we can do this together. So all those kinds of things could be something that you can do right now to help us reach our goal of 50% filled or more, if we can do that by the end of 4th of July. Let me talk a little bit more about the web page and the website that we've got, the peoplegovernNotMoney.org, and what we envision there. There'll be both a public area where you can just send people to go and get information, and we'll be posting progress as we go along. As the signatures start to happen in September, we'll have a progress meter, a thermometer-like thing that will be up there so we can watch how we're doing. And there will also be a private area where volunteers can get a password access, primarily the captains, who would be uploading the counts weekly so that we would have a continuing count of how many signatures we've gathered, how many of those were verified, and that we can keep tabs on that. So we'll have the the private side with a password area where volunteers can go in and update spreadsheets, and then a public side that would have, like I said, the FAQs, a summary of the ballot initiative, some sample emails that you might want to send off to your friends, links to videos, additional pieces of information that would be helpful, just so that everybody can get a chance to understand what we're doing. You can send people there to say, go look at this and see if you're interested, and then volunteer. So then, as far as a recap of what I see us doing in June and July, in June, it's big on the recruiting volunteers, but also developing stories, as Ben said. We'll have some training sessions on how to talk to folks, how to ask for signatures, that kind of thing, develop our stories. Think about researching where there might be 4th of July parades in your area, and attend those and just talk around and see if you can get volunteers at public events. And another good area to try and get help on, a lot of towns, there's 208 towns in Massachusetts that have already passed local local initiatives to support the 28th Amendment. Researching your town and seeing who at town meeting proposed that and supported it, get in touch with them, maybe reactivate some folks that have been dormant. A lot of those things were done in 2012 and 2014, and years have gone by, and we all tend to just slip back into our own lives. But there's folks that were really out there certainly ahead of me in realizing this is a problem. So we might be able to reactivate them and rejoin that. So again, there'll be links on the website. UnitedForThePeople.org is the name of that website that will tell you the 208 cities and towns. That's United, the number 4, thepeople.org. So you can find if your town is in there and look up who in your town and who on town meeting proposed those things. And then so that's June, and then in July, let's start promoting the upcoming collections on Facebook. We can start lining up legislators to support us, see if they would hold town hall meetings where we could be invited and collect a lot of signatures all at once. I know that we've been to a couple town hall meetings, and they're just packed right now because everybody's interested in this, and you can just gobble up signatures really quickly there. And then and continue to call your friends and ask them to be signature gatherers, or at least be ready to sign the petition when it comes out in September. So that's the quick recap of the plans for the next couple of months. Let me stop again and now see if there's other questions on either ones that we didn't catch the first time around, or if what I've said about the specifics about what we're doing for Massachusetts and our goals for the next 30 days, if there's questions on that. Happy to hit those at this point.
Thanks, Larry. That was a great overview. While we're waiting folks to press 1 on their keypad, if you have any question or comment, again, hit 1 on your keypad so we can know to call on you. And in the meantime, while people are doing that, Kellen Arno from Grandview Campaigns, did you have anything to add to Larry's great presentation?
No, yeah, I think he did a great job, so thanks, Larry. I think the only thing I would add is, I think the points that Larry emphasized are the best use of everybody's time right now, which is really just to start thinking through how you in your own personal life can start to set up, I think, an infrastructure for us to hit the ground running once we get cleared to collect signatures. I will warn everybody up front, those 2 months go really quickly, and so you don't want to, I think everybody should really try to make the goal to get to do whatever they can those first 2-3 weeks when we really have the most energy, because you look up and all of a sudden it'll be November. So I think doing as much advance work as we can is always a good idea. And just to echo another thing that Larry said, which is, I know right now that probably seems like a tall order, and there's probably a lot of questions out there about how do I go out and get signatures, where do I go? And I just wanted to really emphasize that we're going to spend a lot of time as a group talking about that in the weeks and even months to come. I think our one big goal here is, from a signature gathering perspective, is to make sure that come September, nobody's sitting there wondering where are they going to go or what are they going to say. that's a big part of the process we want to take with you guys over the next couple weeks and months. So I'm really excited to get to know each of you guys, and I'm really excited to watch you all make history.
Awesome. Thanks, Kellen.
Great.
All right, let's go to a couple questions. Roberta Key. Roberta, where are you calling in from?
South Boston.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I'm still not clear what this initiative is for. It's to get a commission. Is that correct? That's what we're going to be voting on.
Yes, the Massachusetts Ballot Initiative would be to form a citizens commission that would support. Oh, go ahead.
That's what I will need more information, because I know the people that I'll be asking for signatures will be wondering, well, what is this commission all about? Why a commission? So where can I go to get that particular answer? I didn't go to either the Boston or the Worcester events, so I guess I missed that. But I really need to understand.
It's still in process, really. So that the language of the actual ballot initiative is still being worked on, and I think, Ben, you said in 4 to 6 weeks it would be finished. Is that right?
Correct. That's right.
So until that time
getting signatures for something that hasn't been formed yet.
Yeah, that's a valid question, Roberta. If I could just jump in for a quick second, Larry. So
sure.
Yeah. So Roberta, I'm not sure if you were on more towards the beginning of the call, but essentially the official language won't be filed with the Attorney General's office for 4 to 6 weeks or so. But we can say with confidence what the gist of it is. And again, that is the creation of this nonpartisan citizens commission that acts as the people's watchdog to enforce the policy of Massachusetts in support of a 28th Amendment to overturn Citizens United. We can send a sample draft around of what that language looks like. If you'd like to see that, Roberta, just go ahead and shoot me an email, beng@americanpromise.net, beng@americanpromise.net, and I can send you the draft of the language if you'd like to take a look at that. And as soon as it's formalized, then it'll be up on the website, and it'll be a deeper explanation of what it is. And then there's really going to be a lot of training, as Kellen and Larry mentioned, in terms of how do we talk about this with our neighbors? How do we approach strangers on this to gather signatures for this? So there's going to be an in-depth training and a lot more background that you should be ready to go. But in the meantime, it really is try not to get too into the weeds with folks, because again, it hasn't been formalized, but this is a ballot initiative in 2018 that is the creation of the People's Watchdog Citizen Commission to enforce Massachusetts policy in support of the 28th Amendment to overturn Citizens United and related cases. So again, a lot more details on that to come, and for folks that are still looking for some clarity, if you would like to press 1 on your keypad as well, I'm happy to go into a little bit more detail. But Larry, did you have anything else to add there?
No, I think you clarified that pretty well. It is, Roberta, it is in the process, but we have, as Ben said, the language, the summary language is pretty well done now, and that's what Ben can send out at the moment that you could read over.
Yeah, and actually, as opposed to individuals sending an email asking for this, why don't we just send that out to everybody on the call? So it's more clear.
That would be great. Yes.
So in the follow-up email, we'll have an attachment in the follow-up email that will have the summary of the ballot initiative attached, so people can look into that a little bit more. I think we have just a few more minutes here, so is it okay if we do a couple more questions here, Larry?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, great. Let's go to Elizabeth Sass. I'm sorry, Elizabeta Sassaroli. Sorry.
Yes.
Good to be there. Are you with us?
Yes, I am. I see your I see your website unitedforthepeople.org, but then you mentioned another website, People Govern Not Money, but I didn't find that. It's still on.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for asking that clarifying question. So the unitedforthepeople.org was one I mentioned that lists, it's not associated with us specifically, but it's one that lists the it lists the supporting states and towns that support a 28th Amendment. So in there you can find your town. If you dive into the state, Massachusetts,
I see
you
my
find
town,
that.
Brookline.
Okay, perfect. Then the other one that I mentioned, peoplegovernNotMoney.org, all one strung together, nothing, no spaces or hyphens or anything, peoplegovernNotMoney.org. That's our Massachusetts website that is associated with American Promise. So that's part of what we're doing, and that one just launched. We just got it up yesterday. So it's brand new, but hopefully you can see it. I know I was able to get to it today, and it's one that will be evolving
maybe I didn't
over time.
Spell it right. I'm not good at spelling.
That is one of its problems. Is that it is a long name.
Okay, I will find it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think actually it looks like Ann Kearney might have a follow-up question here. Hey, Ann, are you still with us?
Yes, I am. Thanks.
Sure.
Since Massachusetts legislature did pass a resolution in 2012, would Massachusetts be considered one of the 19 states that have passed that resolution?
Good question. Yes is the answer. Right, Ben?
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, correct. Yeah, we're kind of counting double there, but this reinforces that because it was so, it's 2012. And so one of the goals is to get everybody, all the states, as many states as we can, up to the same place with everybody understanding the process at the same time. And so it's great to reinforce that 2012, that was 5 years ago. So now come back, reinforce it, and get it renewed and refreshed. But you're absolutely right. Massachusetts does count as one of the 19 in Ben's list.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll also add, Larry, that California is also a state that was counted for towards that mark as well, and they went for the ballot initiative in addition to their state legislature doing it. And so any time that we have a chance to get a direct mandate from the people to tell Congress to do something, we should go for it. As I mentioned earlier in the call, to have 4.5 million voters in Massachusetts step up and demand this type of reform sends a very powerful message to not only our own congressional delegation in Massachusetts, but to other states as well. And so while it is true that the Massachusetts state legislature did pass that in 2012, it's much more powerful coming from the people directly, which is the beautiful thing about the ballot initiative process. So that's a great question. And anyone else with a question or a comment or need clarification on any points that have been made, go ahead and press 1 on your keypad now, and then we're going to end here in just a few minutes. And I believe we have Pauline Himlin. Pauline, are you there?
Yes, but my question was actually asked and answered, so thank you.
Okay.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much for joining.
Wonderful. Okay.
All right.
If there's no other question, nope, looks like there's no other questions or comments right now. So Larry, I'll pass it over to you to close out. But again, I'll just reiterate, I really appreciate everyone's excitement about this ballot initiative in 2018. Again, this is a pretty special thing. We only get 3 or 4 questions per election cycle to go on the ballot, and to have the 28th Amendment be one of those is a very special thing. And as Kellen said, I think we're all going to make history together. One, in putting this question to the voters for the 28th Amendment to overturn Citizens United, and two, really challenging the doctrine that you need millions of dollars in paid signature gatherers to get this done and put on the ballot, which it seems as though that's what a lot of campaigns have been doing recently, and we're going to put that to the test and do this on an all-volunteer effort, and I think that we can do that, and it is going to be historic. So thanks again to all. Really looking forward to working with all of you guys, and I'll go ahead and pass it over to you, Larry.
Certainly, and yes, and I echo Ben's encouragement and thanks for everyone on the call, and I also think that we're going to be able to do this. It doesn't seem that daunting a task to me, and maybe it's naive hope because I've never done it before, but I do think that all of us in this community are engaged. It's the right time. I just don't see this as a difficult hurdle at all. And so my parting thought is that one of the things as I go around and do have a chance to talk with people and in our local American Promise associations, I very much enjoy the community part of this whole thing, that we get together and talk in groups of 3 to 30 and share experiences, and that's something that we lack. I think now we're often stuck in at our computers sending emails, and just to be able to get out and form those community bonds and talk with other folks is just exciting, and that's the piece that I enjoy and pull a lot of positive energy from it. So I thank everyone on the call for being part of that as well. So unless there's a last little bit of thoughts, I think we can conclude the call and thank everybody for participating.
Yeah, and be looking out for an email from Larry here in the next few days that'll have some of those attachments that we talked about, and probably a link to register for the next volunteer call that Larry will set the date for. So that should be coming out. What do you think in the next few days here, Larry?
Oh, yes. Yep.
Okay.
And certainly, hopefully before the weekend, but often I do have a day job, so I do end up doing a lot of this work on the weekend. So that may look for it this weekend.
Great. I always like to end calls with a quote too. And I read this just the other day. This is a quote from Anonymous. I don't know where it comes from, and it's very short, and it goes like this: "Be outrageous. It's the only place that isn't crowded." I'll say it again. Be outrageous. It's the only place that isn't crowded. So let's be outrageous together and let's make history. So thanks again, all, and I'm going to go ahead and end the call there. And thanks again to Kellen Arno for joining as well.
Thank you, guys. Good.
All right. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Larry. Thanks, all. Bye-bye.
Have a good night. Bye.